Sunday, January 11th, 2026. I'm going to go through the steps today to release a song that I think I've kind of got finished. You know, they're never finished. But I'm going to go through the steps today to release the song. And I think my target date for this thing to kind of be out publicly is going to be February the 14th. So, you know, my challenge here to, make something happen in the musical world it's a very daunting challenge. Main thing I'm finding out is, that work and life in general kind of has a tendency to get in the way of any sort of progress. And man, my progress is so intermittent and slow. It's like, there's no real disciplined and concerted effort to make something happen here. But nevertheless, it's still one of those things that God's told me to do. And so, today's one of those days where I can at least check off some boxes on getting one of them out the door. So we'll see how it goes. First things first, Food City. I got a salad bar from Food City and some Milo's unsweet tea. I got me a Food City salad bar and a gallon of unsweet tea. And that will propel me forward into my day here of releasing a song and doing other things. I had a meeting with God April, let's see, 2022 maybe, something like that. He's always talking. One of the things that he told me at that time was that, and this is funny to me, this is so funny. He said that my music will be my greatest legacy. And what do you do with that? I mean, I didn't even know how to take it, and I still don't. I do not know how to understand what that even means, other than to say that God wants me to do it. And it's something that is yet really unborn. I mean, it's in its infancy at best, And and then God tells you that's going to be your greatest legacy, and you got to say to yourself, man, my life ain't going to amount to much, is it? From my perspective. So it's like, hey, man, all I know to do is, he's given me this thing to do. Go out there and produce the records, make it happen, and, let the chips fall where they may. I have no earthly clue what it means. I really have no idea. I know this, it's difficult and time-consuming to create it. And costs a lot of money, too. Even though I, do it all myself pretty much. But I got people helping. I got people playing instruments on there and stuff. I would say that you know, in my way of looking at it, the chances of me ever making a profit on a record are like it's impossible. It seems to me that eventually, if there is no nuclear holocaust, and these digital accounts that are set up are continuing for 500 years, you know, if I make $40 a year, 10 years is 400. 100 is 4,000. It'd probably take 200 years to make my money back. But hey, you know, it's like one thing I noticed about how it all goes down. I mean, I noticed the other day I had one day where I had 30-something people listen to one of my songs. I'm like, where'd that come from? I have no clue. And it's a big earth, and you just really don't know what all can happen. I have a hard time understanding whether or not any of the music that I do is good. I know that there's a lot of issues and problems with it, that the more I work on it, the better I get at it. And so there's always a possibility that it could improve. So I was like, hey, man, you know, I just got to go down that road, see what happens. I will also tell you that in one of my notes from my meeting with God a couple years ago, he told me that it's good that you took the time to meet with me. I thought that was funny. Now I got to listen to it a couple more times to make sure that there's nothing overly weird about it, because you're kind of stuck with it once you do this. Okay, I have done the back end thing that needed to be done to release my song Rearview Mirror, and it will be officially coming out February the 14th. You can go to my website and buy it right now, early, if you want to. So anyway, MikeMixson.com, check it out. Somehow I'm gonna have to generate some sort of a schedule of production and come up with some kind of a meaningful way to advance the production. And it's like, okay, that takes time just to plan it. And it's like, wow, I have to find time to plan. I have to invest time to plan and lay out a year worth of production so that something gets accomplished. You know, that's the whole goal. Be disciplined enough to plan to get something accomplished. And of course, I have a list of disciplines, and this is going to go on there. It's like, okay, when am I going to do this? When am I going to do this? You know, that's what it boils down to. The results are cool when you get some results. And you finally, like today, I published my song Rearview Mirror. I got it sent to the release queue. So February 14th is going to be coming out. And, you know, I got to have something coming behind it. See, you know, what is the most that I've ever done? Man, I don't even know. Maybe 5 or 6 in a year. I need to find a way to do one a month. That's the real goal. Can I do one a month? Maybe. We'll see. You know, I will supplement my video here with just some words of encouragement to you folks out there. You got to realize that none of us are here for very long. And if you got something you want to go do, you probably need to get about going and doing it, because time is of the essence. Here it is, January 2026. Next thing you know, it'll be Christmas time. Bang. This year's going to roll fast. But, you know, that's the way they always are. And so they get faster by the year. Trying to find ways to slow them down a little bit. Got to take some time off to do that. I got to schedule that into the whole thing. Maybe once a quarter. You know, I think I can pull that off. Going to be interesting to see. You know, I am one of those people who is, in my heart, serious about being a Jesus follower. And that takes an extreme amount of discipline to do it for real. When you bring everything that you do and lay it at Jesus' feet and say, what do you think about that? You know, that's just, you know, you're in a cooperative relationship. And you're not just winging it day by day, which is my, you know, normal mode of operation, is just to wing it day by day. So it takes extreme discipline to bring everything to the feet of Jesus every single day and say, Lord, what do you think about this? You know, but it's the right way to go. And I read through one of my notes about one of the times I spent with God, and he said, it's good that you spent time with me, took time to spend alone with me. I forgot exactly how he phrased it, but it was something like it was good that you took this time to spend with me today. So that's good to hear, you know, that God appreciates that. So it's like, hey, that's where it's at. You know, Jesus used to retreat out into the mountainside early in the morning to get along with God. And he had it as a normal thing that he did all the time. So we need to do that stuff too. My message to the world is you got to realize what God is doing here. People are so confused by it. You know, even people in the church are so confused by it, you know. They're so used to the consumer-oriented, bite-size, individualized preaching that we get in churches these days. You got to realize the bigger picture of what God's doing. God decided a long time ago when he started making this place happen that he wanted human beings down here running this place the way that he would. Okay? Human beings are created in God's image. And those of us who are Jesus followers have learned and are learning through the teachings of the Master who did it right, how it is that we should operate. And when a Jesus follower operates in the right mode, everything around them gets better. And then you get a community of Jesus followers operating in that mode, and then everything in the community gets better. And so eventually, when the Jesus followers have overcome the entire world, then everything in the entire world gets better, and it becomes the unbelievable utopian place that God had in mind to begin with. Now, that's exactly what's going on in this world. It may not seem like it, but that's what's happening. And that's our destiny. So, how's he pulling this off? It's through the revolutionization of the individual Christ follower. So for me to go out here and tell anybody else how it is they need to be living or what they need to be doing, that ain't what it's about at all. I am here to revolutionize myself into what it is that Jesus wants me to be. And I encourage you to do the same. And if we all do that together, then guess what? This place becomes a really good place to be. Okay? So that's what's happening. The kingdom of God was initiated 2,000-something years ago when Jesus crashed the future into the present. So my encouragement to you is to not look at what other people are doing. Don't lambaste them for doing wrong. Ain't what it's about. Use your humanity to do the good things. Follow Jesus. Treat all people like Jesus would have treated them. That's the essence of it. Now, of course, I fall short, of course. But, you know, it ain't about falling short all the time and going, I'm just going to fall short. No. It's to revolutionize myself to where I fall short less. And guess what? It's the same for all of us.